you guys? Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Dulce Candy, and today I'm going to be talking about breastfeeding. I'm introducing myself, which is something I usually don't do in my videos because I know there's a lot of new moms that have been tuning into my channel since I started the IVF journey. But today's video, I actually want to share with you guys my breastfeeding journey as of now. I am 2.5 months postpartum, and I also want to share with you guys everything that I have learned to be able to increase my milk supply, which has been a really big struggle and challenge for me. First of all, I am a mom of 2 boys, a 9-year-old who I did not breastfeed. I gave him formula exclusively. He's 9, he's super healthy, he's never had, thank God, health issues, and he's a very intelligent boy. Okay, so I have a son who was fed formula, and then I have my new baby. His name is Aaron, and I gave birth 2.5 months ago, and I have been doing breast milk in a bottle, and also formula. So that's all that I do. And I also pump a lot because I want to increase my milk supply so I can be able to get to the point where I don't have to give him the bottle. But honestly, I'm okay with giving him the bottle. Like, that's not something that I'm like, I can't give him the bottle, you know, like I am actually very content giving him the bottle, and I find a lot of comfort being able to know how much milk after he breastfeeds for an X amount of time. I just love knowing how much he's intaking, and I love seeing him grow and get healthy and chubby and chunky, and that makes me really happy. And that's the number one most important thing to me, is that my baby is fed. So I am not here, you know, coming anti-bottle, anti-formula, like just exclusively breastfeed. That's not me, okay? And also, I am also the mom who really struggled to increase her milk supply. And actually, I'm still struggling because I am 2.5 months postpartum, and I am able to pump about 15 ounces in one day. Okay, that's just pumping aside from what my baby is eating, because I always pump after I breastfeed. So to me, it's very important to understand that you cannot compare your breastfeeding journey to another mother, because we are all set up completely differently. So I guess I want to start off when I was at the hospital after I gave birth. I went in with the mentality that I was just going to exclusively breastfeed Aaron. I was not going to do formula. And this is before I had any knowledge that my body was just not going to produce a lot of milk like that right away, and that it was going to be a challenge. And so I was at the hospital. I had a really difficult time getting Aaron to latch on, and it's because he was also born a few weeks before his due date, almost like a whole month actually. And so he wasn't strong enough to elicit a letdown per se, or really extract the colostrum the way that he should have. Plus, newborns don't eat a lot of milk, right? They eat about like this much because their stomachs are so tiny. But I had no intentions of giving him formula, because I thought, like, if he's on my breast for like an hour, which is what he was doing when I was feeding him, I felt like if he's on my breast for an hour, then he's probably eating something, right? But it was really painful. Like, the latching was painful. My nipples were so raw and tender, and just like every time I would put my nipple in his mouth, it was like I just felt like this sharp pain, and I didn't look forward to that pain. So that was a challenge. Also, I had the C-section, and I had the edema on my legs, so I couldn't walk, and it was painful to even move from my bed. So I had a really bad experience, and traumatic experience actually, at the hospital. And I didn't have support from anybody, and I didn't really have the support from the nurses, because there's just so many patients that they can't devote 100% attention to you as you need it. Like, they're doing the best that they can, but they just can't be like 100% on you. Like, I wish that I would have had the support like that. So I cut my time at the hospital like right away. I only spent 2 nights, the night that I gave birth and then the following night, for a little bit of a recovery. And my doctor wanted to keep me there longer, but I was just ready to go home because I was crying in the middle of the night. Aaron did not want to go to sleep. He had a hard time falling asleep, so I was up for like what seemed 5 days in a row, like straight 5 days. Like I would get maybe 30 minutes of sleep and then I would have to be up. So the lack of sleep also put me in a very, very bad state of mind. And before I left the hospital, I also took a depression test and I was just answering everything truthfully. Come to find out, I am severely depressed. And they try to get me some help right there and then. But I'm like, I'm not depressed. It's just that, I just had a baby and it's the COVID and I was alone and I wish I would have had support from someone and this is just a lot. But I'm going to be good. I'm going to be good after I get home. Like, I'm going to be good. That was not the case. I had the baby blues. I was really, really sad. I was crying. I had no idea why. But I was aware of the baby blues. So I'm like, this is the baby blues, but this sucks. But I felt like it was deeper than the baby blues because I was contemplating things that I have not contemplated since I was 14 years old. Like I was contemplating my existence. Like that's how bad it got for me. That's how bad it was for me at that point. And I felt really lonely. I felt alone at that time. I remember like a week later, I went out for a walk to get some fresh air and I saw a mom with her little sling, one of these things that you just put on in front of, like a rebozo, like a wrap. And just me visually seeing a mom walking with her newborn and knowing that there's a mom in my neighborhood who is also possibly going through sleepless nights, that was such a huge relief for me and a big sort of comfort. Just me seeing her, just seeing another mom. So I did get a lactation consultant and she came over to my house because I needed more help with breastfeeding and, getting Aaron to latch on. But I just wanted somebody to tell me that it was going to get better. And I didn't really get that. Like, I didn't really get that when I desperately needed that. I didn't really get that from a mom. Like, that's all I wanted. All I wanted was a mom to say, like, I see you. I know what you're going through. I know this is challenging. I know you're not sleeping. I know that all you do 24/7 is like breastfeed is what it seems like. I know you're not getting your milk supply. I know this is hard. It's going to get better. You are going to enjoy it. You are going to love it. You are going to get over this and overcome the depression and the baby blues. You are going to overcome it. That's all I wanted to hear. All I wanted to hear. Not having my mom and my sister around me because of the pandemic, that was also very challenging. Thankfully, I had my husband, and I have my husband who is my best friend and who has been my rock and who has supported me through this entire journey. We're a team. Like, we literally do the breastfeeding thing together. And I'll explain how. I know there's moms who don't struggle with this, but this is for my mamas who are struggling with this. I see you. I know what you're going through. I know what you're feeling. 5 days after Aaron was born, I took him to see his pediatrician for the first time, and he had lost a lot of weight. I did not realize this. Like, my baby just seemed so tiny, and I just felt like, okay, he's not swollen anymore like he was when he was born. Because when he was born, guys, he was so chubby and chunky and just gordito. And 5 days later, he was so skinny. And so I took him to see his pediatrician for the first time, and he told me that he is severely underweight. He's like, what are you feeding him? And I'm like, I'm just exclusively breastfeeding. That's what I planned on doing. And he's like, well, I recommend that you supplement with 1 ounce after each feeding because, he developed jaundice and he's dehydrated and he lost a lot of weight because he's not being fed properly. And this can cause a lot of permanent damage to his brain and his health if you don't supplement. So that was a shock to me because here I am, feeding my son and thinking that I'm feeding him and he's not being fed at all. And now it makes sense as to why he wasn't sleeping at the hospital because he was hungry and he wasn't sleeping at home either. So as soon as he told me to supplement, Jesse went to Target, he bought formula, and I was really, really happy to be able to give him food, okay? That is the number one most important thing to me, is to make sure that my baby is fed. I am not here just being like only exclusively breastfeed, or bottle feeding is bad or formula is bad. As long as your baby is fed, that is the number one most important thing that matters, okay? I want to make it clear because I didn't have that understanding before. And if I would have known this with my second baby, I'm already going to do the supplementation. And I couldn't supplement breast milk. I had to do formula because my milk supply hadn't came in. So another part of my struggle was that I wanted to give him breast milk instead of formula, but it just was not coming in no matter what I was doing. And it took more than 5 days. Usually they say your milk supply comes in 5 days. And I've also seen some other moms who are able to pump the colostrum like in crazy amounts, but that wasn't the case for me either. So just, getting my milk supply to come in has been a huge struggle. I am currently at 15 ounces of pumped breast milk a day, which is a huge number for me. The other day, I just did 4 ounces in one feeding, just pumping with both breasts, so 2 and 2 ounces. And that's a huge deal. Like, that is a huge deal coming from 0 for a long time and like 1 ounce like after 2 weeks. 15 ounces is a huge number. I know there's videos of moms on YouTube who pump like 1,000. I'm exaggerating, but that's what it seems like, because they'll be like, how I pump, 1,000,000 ounces in 1 second, how you can too. So I'm not that mom, but I wanted to do this video with the amount that I pump for my mamas out there who are like, okay, 15 ounces, we're doing amazing, we're doing great.